So if you didn't know, you can actually start your burst rotation early before the stun starts. And I'll show you what I mean. This is specifically with Zhu Yuan's C1. So if you don't have her C1, it's probably not going to be as effective. So if we play the clip now, you'll see that I start with Nicole and we go into Zhu Yuan. And you can see if I pause here, the stun actually starts during... This one wasn't perfect. You could probably fine-tune this to have the stun activate at the first bullet, but you can see here though that there is an extra bullet during the stun window that wouldn't be there. Now this is especially important with her C1, and knowing, if you know anything about Zhu Yuan, you know that there's not enough time with her C1 to get all of the bullets out. So it feels more like a quality of life rather than a damage increase. Whereas with this, the way that we're doing it, we're actually increasing the time that Zhu Yuan's on the field while the boss is stunned. So we keep playing, you can see that we go into the chain attack, we go back to Zhu Yuan, and then we can just play the burst combo out. And that's all good. And this also works with her ult, and it works even better with her ult, because what ends up happening is that you tend to have more ammo than you can get rid of, even within this burst rotation. So that either leaves you enough for the next one, or maybe you can use a few at the end and extend your burst that way. So this is what I've been testing out this rotation. So you can see here with this one is a rotation with the ult. You can see here that we do activate the stun right here. It is, again, it could be a little bit earlier, but it's going to be tough to min-max that in an actual fight. The stun that I've been starting with has been somewhere between 65 and 70. You can go as low as 75, but the issue is that if you are charging Nicole's EX, you're gonna struggle. You have to be far enough away from the boss that it doesn't hit them when you're charging. Otherwise, you'll generate too much daze. And this does depend on the boss as well, because some bosses will generate daze slower. Something that I should mention as well is starting with 5 bullets is about right. You can go with 6. With 6, it means that you don't gain any from the quick assist from Nicole's EX. So if that was the case, you could just quick switch rather than having just a manual switch, rather than waiting for the quick assist to pop up. So either way works, but that's just something to note. Again, this only really works with Nicole. Now, a couple of benefits to talk about quickly is that with this one, you have a higher chance of building your corruption stacks earlier. And this is important because you do actually gain an extra 33% crit damage from having corruption active, which is really, really strong. Something else to note is that this rotation is also only possible with Zhu Yuan's C1, but it also enhances her C2. If you look at her C2, it gives you 50% more ether damage after 5 stacks, and you can only stack with her basic attack. So if you start stacking at the start of the stun window, you're gonna have more of those attacks that are enhanced later on. So the ones that are outside of the stun window, while they might seem like a bit of a waste, it's actually primarily there to stack some of your other buffs. Just a little side note, this rotation actually pairs pretty well with the Brimstone, which would be like an alternate W engine to Zhu Yuan's signature. Since Brimstone requires a little bit of time at the start of your rotation to stack up that attack buff, you do get that time with this rotation, but this rotation still pairs fairly well with Zhu Yuan's own signature, so you don't need to worry about that. So to summarize, the only things you need is obviously Nicole and Zhu Yuan's C1. Other than that, pretty much do whatever. You can see I've been using Ambi here, but you can probably replace her with any stun character, and this should work fairly well. And the gains you get, I mean, you can stack Chaotic Metal's crit damage buff. You also get a little bit of extra time at the start of the stun because you're initiating the stun with Zhu Yuan, or maybe if you want to take this rotation to another DPS character, you could try initiating with them as well. And if you do happen to have C2 Zhu Yuan, you do also get an additional 50% healer damage from this rotation during a stun window, rather than having to build it up at the start after you chain attack.